it's been amazing. Just being here from Miami and watching how the staff was excited and embraced me into the new role. So it's just been exciting being able to take on the next step in my career to be able to help my hometown team. So I'm excited to get ready for fall camp day one tomorrow, and it's going to be an exciting fall camp. It's going to be a competitive one, and I'm just looking forward to it.
How much does it help to have a lot of familiar faces back in that room, kind of knowing what the standard is and what the expectation is?
It's been good because we got a really talented, loaded room, and obviously these guys they're really competitive and they're looking forward to get after it. But we always try to keep the focus on competing with themselves. Ultimately, to create a more competitive room. So to have older guys, to have veterans, I feel like we got the best DB room in the country, and we got a good problem, and we're going to continue to utilize those guys and their skill sets to our best ability.
Has your recruiting role changed at all? I mean, your responsibilities, I should say, on a day-in, day-out basis, and if they have, can you kind of explain how they have changed?
Yeah, well, if you work for Coach Cristobal, no matter what your role is in the building, you need to have some type of impact in recruiting. And just as an analyst, it was always foot on the gas, no matter who we were recruiting, whether it was my position or anybody on the offensive side of the ball or not. So nothing has changed in that regard. We had a great relationship with the guys that came in, and still have a great relationship with these guys as we've got committed in this 27 class, and as we continue to build forward through the next few classes.
My last question for you, just replacing Keontae in that room, who's best in the country at his position, in my opinion. Talk about that process and kind of what your message is to the guys who are all competing for not only that role, but for all of them. There's a lot of competition in these rooms.
Yeah, obviously, just like a couple other key players that we lost on the defense this past year, Keontae was a huge piece, and obviously he was a leader for us. He was a very athletic nickelback, and we've been able to see throughout the spring and throughout the summer who's going to be some of those guys that's going to fill those shoes. And I think we got enough guys that's coming back from this past secondary to come forward this year. Guys like, the guys that's played last year a bunch, the Zachariah Poises, the Bryce Fitzgeralds, and then obviously bringing in pieces like Omar, J.J. Donegan, just to name a few names of guys that's just going to be able to have a key role in some of those spots. So we're excited to seeing those guys compete and move around in certain spots.
And then to kind of build on a question we got already, just the moment you got the call from Coach Cristobal, like, hey, this is your role now. Like, what was that moment like for you to move forward in your career and everything?
It was surreal. Honestly, when I first got the call, I had to digest it a little bit. I took a moment to hang up the phone and pray to God. Because this is something that we all pray for in this coaching career, to be able to take a leap like that as young as I am, and to have a moment like that happens. It's kind of hard to put into words. Like, even when I'm talking to him on the phone, I was speechless. It wasn't much I could say to him but thank you. But it was a dream come true to be able to have the relationship that I already have with the guys that's on the team, and to be able to fulfill that role to where a majority of my knowledge and the techniques that I'm teaching, those guys' development is going to be in my hands. So I'm super excited about the opportunity for sure.
And you kind of take over the room where you're already getting handed the keys to a nice car already, basically, like with guys like OJ, Xavier, Ethan, Damari, so I guess for those four guys in particular, I guess what do you want to see them, from them this year? Like, what do you think they need to work on the most in terms of their development?
The biggest thing is just the technique and fundamentals. We got a lot of great guys. Again, guys that's been a starter at some point last year, or has been the guy here, or wherever it's been in their past schools or whatnot. And then we got the development of other guys, like including those four. You got Jabari Antoine, who's shown a lot of potential and development over this past offseason. So, like I said before, we got a really good problem, man. And, you can't put everybody on the field at once, but it's going to be a very competitive camp, as I said before. I'm just looking forward to see, which guys are going to separate themselves.
And then just how crucial was it, especially, towards the end of last year through the playoffs, where it seemed like, half the cornerbacks were hurt at some point, to see guys like Jabari and Ethan, who didn't play a lot during the regular season. I guess Ethan did, but seeing those guys kind of step up into bigger roles and take over during the playoffs and still perform at a high level.
Yeah, and it's a testament to those guys and their processes, whether they were starters or whether they were contributors, whether they were backups, whatever that looks like for them. guys' process has stayed the same. So everybody prepared as if they was going to be out there on the first snap and as if they was going to play 70 snaps. And I think that allowed guys who didn't have as much as a huge role at the beginning of the season to step up in huge moments towards the end of the season. So, like I said, it's a testament to the way that they work, the way they prepare, and the way they trust in us and our coaching. So I'm just excited to see them be able to fulfill those moments and want to continue to see those guys do the same thing this year, no matter what the roles end up playing out as.
Who do you study? Who do you study for? Who's the OC at Stanford? Or is it the head coach? It's not the head coach.
I think it's going to be like a combination because the head coach is coming from
the NFL.
The quarterback coach from the
Commanders.
From the Commanders.
Did he hire an OC? Is he the play caller?
And I think he's going to call it. Like the good thing is we'll have a better feel when we start matching up the films because we got some of that stuff.
Are you gonna watch? You gonna watch NFL shit?
That's like
what I was gonna say. Who are you gonna watch?
It's hard. That's the thing. It's hard to lean on a lot of that stuff, but the good thing is the OC. The head coach was the OC at Stanford maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. So it's some stuff.
And they're gonna play a game, but
they got Hawaii, so that's the.
They won't show as much. That's gonna be one of those games where you probably just stick to your shit and rely on those guys to kind of just.
What are we good at? Let's find out. What
are we better than them or not? Like like I'm saying, like we're better than them. Our guys got to go play.
Absolutely.
Because
that's
you're gonna be chasing. Oh, he runs this. He runs that.
It's gonna be the story every game this year. The best team we're gonna see is out here in Michigan. That's as simple as it is.
Especially this year.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So,
how good is the quarterback? Ours.
Oh, really good. And I think he's a great player. And the biggest thing, he's one of those, he's humble. He gets after it. Obviously, he has the chemistry with Cooper, and it seems like him and Malley been playing together for years. So he meshes well with the offense, and it seems like him and Shannon is a lot like-minded too. So it's good, man.
Who's next? But after your top four, who's next for you?
It's honestly it's a rotation of 5 right now.
Who's the fifth? Oh, Jabari, right. Pretty wild what happened to him last year, huh?
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying earlier. Like he was one of those guys that just he didn't have a major role, right? But throughout the year, he just prepared as if he was the guy. And so when his moment came, he showed up. But he's one of the guys that this offseason, he really showed up.
Did he?
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how much better he continues to get.
It was on the other night, the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, I was just watching some of that earlier in the morning.
I forgot about we dropped 2 fucking picks.
4.
4? I picked it up. I forgot. I probably must have picked up in the second quarter.
2 should have been touchdowns.
Ethan had one. That would have been a touchdown. That was on the.
Dylan Day was like a 2-minute drive, should have been a touchdown. And then Jacoby came down, and that should have been a touchdown. And Ethan won, and then
someone else had one.
There was another tilt ball.
Right. Yeah.
Last year you had freshman Bryce Fitzgerald had a lot of success. Have you ever seen that at this level?
Not as much. It doesn't come often as much, but he was one of those guys that came in right away. Obviously, he enrolled late. As far as being a spring enrollee, he came in the summer. But the one thing we saw in Bryce was that he loved football. And, he had a knack for it. And from day one, he stepped on the field. He found a way to get the football, and that's what allowed us to trust him to kind of trick him in and eventually have a huge role for us this past year. So just looking forward to seeing the same, if not more, this year, and seeing that be contagious to a lot of other guys that's coming on as well.
With all the success last year, there were some critical drop interceptions last year in some critical games. What was your message to those kids in those moments?
Yeah, we always, we have a saying in our DB room that goes PBUs pay rent, but interceptions pay mortgages, and that's just something that we always installed in those guys, where if you catching picks and interceptions, that's what's going to get you paid, you know what I mean? And we've been on these guys every single day, getting ball drills on the jugs in the mornings, afternoons, at night. And so it's definitely going to be a big emphasis, because one of our goals is to lead the country in turnovers and all of that good stuff. So, but it starts now, you know what I mean? And it started after the season, but now we continue to work towards where we at now, being where our feet are, day one of camp. We're just looking forward to getting after that football.
You got Bryce had some success, and you got Poison. He started the whole year. Then you get Omar comes in. Like, how are you defining the depth? So how are you defining where you're placing these guys? Like, what's separating them?
Yeah, I mean, guys are going to move around a lot. You know, day one of camp is just looking forward to see, who's going to be consistent. And we're just trying to put guys in the best position that fits their strengths. And as far as we can continue to build their weaknesses to the point where our defense doesn't have any weaknesses, but we're just going to continue to move guys around and see who fits where.
So explain that to me. So it's not always set in stone when camp starts. You're trying to figure out where guys fit in the defense, even though, like, you've seen them play. Bryce last was a safety, but when the new season, you're trying to figure it out yourself. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like I said, it's going to be really competitive. We got a room full of guys that love to compete. That loves to, and the biggest thing we always talk about, creating value for yourself as far as knowing multiple positions. So, like I said, it's going to be a ton of moving guys around and seeing who's going to help put us in the best position to win on each and every play.
The cornerbacks last year played kind of like equal snaps. It was kind of weird how some started some game, some played that. What was the philosophy behind it?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is that we had 4 guys this past year that started at some point, you know what I mean, or that's been a dude either, at some point here or at some point at their past school. So you got a bunch of really good players that can win you football games at any given moment, and it's a good problem to have because you got guys that's talented and no matter what, you feel comfortable about having your ones, right? And then when you put your twos in, they're not far off. You know what I mean? They're just as good as your starters. So, I mean, like I said, it's a good problem for us to have. And like I said, as we go through our training camp, just looking forward to a super competitive camp, man. And I know those guys know it. They're looking forward to competing amongst themselves. It's about looking myself in the mirror and getting better. And then ultimately just seeing, who ends up coming out.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's every day. Sebastian Funk, Kansas Insight.
What's going on? Nice to meet you too.
Flip it, hold it, whichever you prefer. You're with Coach TJ. Coach, how are we feeling heading into the season?
I feel really good, man. We got a talented team, and for us, it's just about being where our feet are and just going 1-0 each and every day. So, like I said, the process physically starts tomorrow with the first day of camp, and just looking forward to being a competitive camp and us really getting after it.
And you have a very talented secondary room that, granted, you lose guys like Keontae Scott and Jacoby Thomas, but you return a lot of that core back. How does it feel being able to have those guys for another year and get them to that next level?
No, it's been very beneficial for us because you talk about communication and guys being on the same page. For us to be on year 2 of this system and having some of those guys, a lot of guys coming back with a lot of snaps, it means a lot because now we're going to be twice as better as we were last year from a communication standpoint, being on the same page, understanding what our weaknesses were last year and adjusting to it this year. So the good thing is, like I said, we've got a bunch of guys, veteran guys that's been in the system before, and now we're just carrying over and making adjustments from our weaknesses and strengths based off of last year. But we're excited about the talent for sure, man. I'm looking forward to having a great camp.
Can you talk a little bit about, I know you mentioned the communication that's kind of taken another step, the culture in this room, like how's that been?
Absolutely. So, I mean, we instill it with these guys all the time about your processes, just going 1-0 each and every day. It's just about being where your feet are. And obviously it starts with the top and Coach Cristobal. It's all obviously ain't on us as a staff, ain't on those guys as players. Just about your day-to-day process, how you living off the field, how that applies to on the field. So just continuing to hammer those guys, but early is on time, right?